Hello and welcome to History's a Blast. We're at the Bull Run Battlefield National Park, standing on Henry Hill, that Stonewall Jackson's equestrian statue in the background, because this is where he got the Stonewall nickname. So we're going to tour the battlefield today, and we're going to do both battlefields, first and second Bull Run, and hope you come along. Here's the visitor center. Its entryway is very reminiscent of Arlington Mansion, Lee's home, which was of course taken over by the federal government during the Civil War, and in sweet revenge it was turned into a cemetery for soldiers killed in that war, and it has become the national cemetery. So let's go on into the visitor center and check the place out. There's Debbie waiting for me patiently in the shade. So we're going to wander around in the museum. They've got a 6-minute animated, looks like it's a light up map, isn't it? Yeah, so we'll watch this and then we'll go on into this will give us an orientation, because we're going to miss the film at 1 so we can do a walking tour. So we'll watch this map and then we'll wander around from there. This is a cornerstone from Wilbur McLean's barn. The Manassas Southern Road run to the forest the park side church and continues south 6 miles. Oh, very informative, illuminated, animated map. Talking about the deceptive colors. New York troops wore gray, Confederate Virginians wore blue. Yeah. Took a while for things to standardize. There's a surgeon's toolkit. Yikes. Man, oh man. Look at that saw. They have a nice display on the artillery technology of the day. Different projectiles. There's canister, solid shot, case shot, exploding for shrapnel. And around here you have rifle shells. There's some case shots. Look at this brass sight there. Rope for the back of the, it's called a prolong. There it is on the limber, on the gun tree, the limber, excuse me, on the, there it is on the gun carriage. See how they have it coiled up there. They use that to retreat. They would tie the one end of the rope to the bottom of the gun carriage, the other to the back of the limber, and then they would pull the gun away, and the crew would load and fire the gun as it was being moved backwards. There's your caisson, there's the forge, and there's the battery wagon that carried baggage and supplies and so on. Here's an actual limber chest that shows how the ammunition was stored in the limber. They've got a little film of gun being unlimbered and getting ready for action. There's your one gun crew. One gun and one caisson. 6 or 4 per battery, depending on which army you were in. There we see a battery along the crest of Henry Hill. There's the guns, there's how far back the limbers were, and then the caissons behind the limbers. Caissons would have probably been behind the hill out of the line of fire, because that was your spare ammunition. We're looking across, and there's Stonewall statue facing the direction that the Army was coming from. the enemy army was coming from, the Union Army was coming from. So it's later in the day. We are back on Henry Hill. There's the Widow Henry house. And there's the closer view of Thomas Jackson on his horse. And here is a monument to General Bernard Elliott Bee, the South Carolina Brigade commander, who was killed here. And he's the one who gave Jackson and his brigade their Stonewall nickname. Form, form, there stands Jackson like a stone wall, rally behind the Virginians. And there's another version of the story that says, there stands Jackson like a stone wall and he will not come to my aid, but that's been debunked more or less thoroughly. At least in my mind it has. Quite a view. This is the view over the battlefield that Jackson had, and off in that direction basically is where we were at the second Manassas Ranger Walk at the Deep Cut earlier today. There it is, the heroic scale Stonewall Jackson equestrian statue. There's his 13 pieces of artillery from the Valley Army. Post-war reconstruction of the Widow Henry house, which was more or less destroyed by scavenging for firewood mostly after the battle. As the film in the visitor center said, that by the time of the second Manassas battle in August of '62, the house was essentially gone except for its hearth. Looking back toward the visitor center, the location of where Ricketts artillery would have been set up. And here is the grave of the Widow Henry, who was mortally wounded in her house by artillery fire from Ricketts Battery, attempting to suppress snipers who had taken shelter in the house. Now here's that second original monument from 1865 that goes along with the monument over at the Deep Cut. In memory of the patriots who fell at Bull Run. That's it for this time. I hope you enjoyed this video and will take time to view some of our other ones.